Hello, everybody. Good morning. Chris Allen back at it here on the Sam channel, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and X, all sponsored by Ace Hardware Marketplace for this Tuesday, September 24th. Had a week off last week. Well, a little bit of it was vacation. The other part of it was work. As I mentioned before leaving, went to Texas to go to a weather conference, which was absolutely outstanding. Learned a lot of new things, a lot of things coming down the pike, and meeting with some of my former employees who are now working at other TV stations across the country, Western students, really students of all kinds from all different universities where they're studying meteorology and weather and climate and things like that. It was just awesome. It was in Dallas, Texas, Irving to be specific. Very beautiful down there, but it was hot. Whew, it was hot. But now, as I get back here, you guys have been getting some rain, which is awesome, and I'm happy to see that. This rain, though, is not a drought buster. That's the only problem. It's been nice. We picked up about 1.5 inches yesterday here in Bowling Green with some of the rain and thunderstorms that came down. It's pretty quiet right now after getting some more morning rain. As you can see from the live Plano cam, we've got clouds and a little sunshine breaking through, and at times to the east of us, there's even some shower activity, which I'll show you right now on the radar, which you can also see just this kind of radar. Either it's going to be in dark mode or bright mode, as this one is. And you can see that the rains are now just east of Bowling Green. There's still a few drifting showers out there at 7:45, the current time as I'm doing this podcast. So that's the first wave that's coming through today. Some lightning and thunder and some heavier downpours once you head up toward Lexington and then down toward Danville and places like that along I-75 and that general direction. But we're not done. There's still plenty more rain still to come. And it looks like we may see several days worth of rain, as a matter of fact, which is fantastic. That's exactly what we need. Several days of good soaking rainfall. It has been a while since we've had that. And so it is in the forecast. And the big question is, how much rain are we going to get? And I'll show you that in just a second, what the current projections are. But as we've seen before with leftover tropical systems, sometimes things don't pan out the way we think they will. The last one, what was that one? D, I'm going through the alpha, E, F, Francine. Yes, that was the one that we thought, oh, it's going to come right up through Kentucky and it's going to give us several days of rain. Remember when I said 6 days of rain and it gave us 1 or 2? And you guys came back on here in the chat box and said, where's the rain, weatherman? I thought you said 6 days of rain. I know it's one of those, it's one of those. Yeah. 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 One of those. So, we'll see if this one will pan out a little bit better. We're hoping that as it becomes Helene, as you're seeing right there, Helene is, becoming a tropical storm. It's still tropical, potential tropical cyclone 9, PTC 9, but it looks to become Helene. And we're hoping that that will bring us some badly needed rain, because it looks like the remnants of Helene, once it comes ashore, will come up through Kentucky. And that would be nice later this weekend. Let's check conditions right now as we take a look at Kentucky Mesonet numbers. And as you're getting out and about this morning, Temperatures are in the upper 60s and even a few low 70s beginning to show up. How much rainfall past 24 hours? Look at this. 1.74, an inch and 3/4 rainfall at the Kentucky Mesonet sensor at the Corvette plant here in Bowling Green. That's counting yesterday and what we just got this morning. And you go over here to Barron County, an inch and a half plus, right at an inch and a half in Allen County near Scottsville, an inch and a third in Butler County, an inch 15/100 in Metcalfe County, an inch and a half practically in both Hart County and LaRue County. No, Taylor County. Sorry, there's LaRue. Got a half inch. Look at that. Almost an inch in Adair County. Almost 3/4 of an inch in Russellville. I mean, everybody got some pretty decent rainfall, but you can see the bullseye is right there from Bowling Green south and east. That was where the best setup was for rainfall for the past 24 hours. Winds this morning coming out of the east, southeast at 5 to 10. There will be a little breeze at times today. Dew points are running high, upper 60s to near 70. That means there's plenty of available moisture to work with. And with the cold front just kind of stalling out to our west, that is going to be the trigger today for more shower and thunderstorm activity. In fact, if we get enough daytime heating, we could also be looking at some stronger thunderstorms a little bit later today. Not a for sure thing, but something that I'm going to continue to watch, of course, as we go through the day. Now, let's take a look at the model blender, and it's showing us some cooling that will eventually take place once we get the remnants of this next system, Helene, coming through. We're going to see temperatures mainly in the 70s the next few days. Today will be the last day in the 80s and 82, 83, somewhere in there for a high temperature with enough sun to get us up that warm. And then we are going to begin to see the effects of not only the cold front, but Helene. And once it makes, landfall down in Florida the next couple of days, then its remnants are going to come here, and it's going to keep us cool and cloudy and wet, it appears, all the way through the weekend and into the beginning of next week, which, by the way, is the start of October. And look at those cooler temperatures, 70s, low 70s during the day and 50s, even some low 50s at night by the end of next week. Ooh, that's going to feel good. And as it should. I mean, it's October. Coming into October, we should be cooling down a lot more than we have. It's just been delayed this year because of all the, all the heat and the humidity. It's just been one of those years. But fall is officially here, but fall weather is coming. All right, let's check out the maps now. And you can see the cold front stalled to our west. That's just going to kind of creep along the next few days and just keep us a bit wet at times. Heavier rain and thunderstorms, maybe later this afternoon and this evening. Area of low pressure over northern Alabama. It's going to squeeze out a little bit more moisture, but there's even moisture behind the cold front, as you can see. And that's going to keep us wet the next several days. Here we go into Wednesday. Into Wednesday afternoon, the front really begins to stall right along Interstate 65. And the heaviest of the rains will begin to focus on areas east of Interstate 65 tomorrow evening into Thursday. It just sits here. Friday, it bows back to the north a little bit. Saturday, it still kind of lingers, or at least remnants of the system lingers. But then we start to watch for the influence that we think that Helene is going to have on our forecast. Now, a lot of variables play into this, but it could be that we see enough moisture coming up out of the Gulf of Mexico, and with the remnants of Helene kind of coming right through the panhandle of Florida into Georgia and then the Carolinas, we're going to start to be influenced with that moisture. And as it drifts or is being steered back to the west a little bit, I think that's when we're going to pick up a little bit more in the way of rain. And I'm going to keep rain in the forecast through the weekend, hoping that that will be the case. We need the rain because we're in a drought situation. It's a little more serious drought now than what it was. And it's going to take days, almost a week, before we get anything that's going to come close to busting the drought. We're deep enough into the drought now that busting the drought is going to be hard to do, but hopefully this will take care of it. And promising numbers here. Now, this is not a guarantee. As we saw with Francine, this may not pan out, but here we go with what looks to be some very beneficial rainfall over the next 7 days. This is from today through next Tuesday, the 1st of October. And as you can see by the scale and by the colors, we're looking at anywhere from 3 to 5 inches of rain, and that may be pushing it. It's probably more like 2 to 4 for us right there in southern Kentucky. 2 to up to 4 inches of rain between now and a week from today, next Tuesday, October 1st. So please know that this is not a guarantee. It is a forecast, and it may not happen this way. Because I got so burned on the last one, I'm not going to let that happen again. So the caveat, the caution here is that it may not happen. But let's hope that it does, because that would be awesome. Now, if we get enough daytime heating today, there is also a somewhat small severe weather risk. We saw a couple of cells yesterday almost turn severe, even here in southern Kentucky. Here is the severe weather risk for this afternoon. And as you can see, it almost comes to Bowling Green, level 2 slight risk from, let's say, Barron County, Hart County, and along 65 and to the east-northeast, and along I-75 and 64. That's where the better setup for a few gusty thunderstorms with hail are possible this afternoon and evening if we get enough daytime heating. That's the big question. Will we get enough? Here is the tornado outlook. Now, there's a very small risk of a tornado somewhere in that level 2 risk area, which in the green is only indicating a probability of a tornado 2 to 4%. That's not much, but a risk is a risk. Severe wind or damaging wind threat is up to 15 to 29% in that same area. That's where the better setup is going to be for the possibility of damaging wind. And then hail for everybody is in the 5 to 14% risk. With it, we saw some pea-size hail yesterday in Bowling Green with some of those storms that popped up in the afternoon and evening hours. But this is not like, don't look at that as it's a severe weather risk and it's going to be one of those days. Just be aware. Make sure you've downloaded the News 40 weather app, and that will keep you up to date with the bulletins and warnings and radar and all the stuff you need to know. Have a weather radio. If you don't have one, make sure you've got one that's turned on and ready to go just in case. I'm looking for maybe if the sun does come out for a while, the possibility of a few renegade warnings, and then it would be quick and it would be done. This is not going to be a prolonged type situation, but just be aware that any really hot and muggy sun today could help spark some stronger thunderstorms, maybe even a severe storm or two. Okay, that will do it for this Tuesday edition of your weather podcast. Good morning to everybody back in the chat room. Chad, Elizabeth, Mandem98, Steve, Howard, Lynette, Lonnie, Alyssa, Kathy. Thank you all for coming back after my week off, and we'll get things back on track. In the meantime, I'm on the radio at Sam 100.7, like I usually am. And tonight I'll be on your TV at News 40, WNKY, where local matters. That's NBC 40 and CBS 40. Thanks for watching, and God bless.